All right, so if you're a med spa owner and patients keep asking you things like, how much does it cost? I need to think about it. Maybe after summer, can I wait until after winter? Can I speak to my spouse, my dog, etc.? This video is definitely for you because most clinic owners think they have a sales problem or a consultation problem, when in reality, what they truly have is a before the consultation problem or a pre-consultation problem. And once you see the difference, everything changes. In this video, I'm going to go over what I've discovered. But before we do that, I'm sure you're curious. My name is Marvin Pineda. I'm the founder of Medology, a MedSpa marketing agency here in the US and Canada. Now, over the past few months, especially over the past few weeks, I've done a tremendous amount of research on not only my competition, of course, in the marketing space, but also what the biggest med spas in the nation are doing and how they're separating themselves from the smaller clinics or the newer clinics. Now, what I've discovered is the mistake they're avoiding. Bottlenecks they're actually avoiding compared to their competition. So the biggest mistake med spas make before every consultation is they think they have that consultation problem. Once again, what they have is a pre-consultation problem. So what I mean by that is the real decision happens before the patient walks in, before they grab their keys and make that drive to your clinic and walk through the door and sit down with your esthetician, your NP of any sort. Most clinics assume the consultation is where patients decide whether to move forward. The truth is, the majority of patients start making that decision long before they even consider driving to your clinic. The consultation isn't where value should be created, it's where value gets confirmed. The mindset and the angle that the majority of these highly successful med spas across the nation are pretty much indulging in. And so pretty much to visualize it, the typical patient journey and where it all breaks is something like this. Of course, you get a Facebook ad or Meta ad, Instagram ad, whatever, Google. Then after that, they fill out a simple booking form. It's a value gap, and I'll get into what that pretty much means. But then after that, it's just a consultation. Before the treatment, of course, is the consultation. Now, the issue with this is we expect the majority of patients to understand years of expertise, years of information about the technology, the history of the device or the procedure, and then, of course, thousands of dollars in value. We expect all of them to know this based off of one ad or one lead form that they submitted 2 hours ago, 2 days ago. That's an enormous expectation. Now, for example, right, when it comes to analogies, I'm not, for example, myself, I'm not really into cars like that. I'm aware they're valuable and they're visually appealing, they're sexy. But if I were to walk into a Ferrari dealership without knowing anything, for example, would I buy it? Probably not, right? If you walk into a Ferrari dealership or any type of dealership with no prior knowledge, no reviews, no context, no understanding of the engineering, the history of the company, the salespeople, etc., the culture, then someone asked me, would I spend $250,000 tonight for that car, even if it looks nice? I mean, the chances of me walking out are very high. Before I do that, I'm probably going to say, let me think about it. Can I get back to you? Can I do my research, etc.? Not because Ferrari isn't valuable. It's because nobody has helped me so far in actually understanding the value first. Okay. Now, is that my fault? Probably. I like to take ownerships of my downfalls and etc. and my obligations, but for the most part, it is not my job to go out here and do my own homework, right? It's the professionals' job to pretty much nurture me, and they haven't. And that's exactly what many clinics unintentionally do, and what the best clinics here in the nation are currently doing, and how they're standing out, and how they're attracting high value patients and consultations. So, what's the solution or the missing layer that you should look to add and rebuild the journey? They see an ad, they land on an educational landing page. They see a whole bunch of videos and FAQs and testimonials from your clinic, from your past, your most successful procedures, etc. Helpful emails, which also include this. And on top of that, of course, the actual consultation. Now, the difference between a consultation on this side and that side is this is where the value gets confirmed rather than created. And then, of course, the actual treatment. It's a longer process, of course, but every single touch point here before the consultation is an opportunity. Matter of fact, it's not even an opportunity. I should probably erase this. It's an obligation to reduce uncertainty and increase the patient's comfort with a premium decision. So, for example, if you're watching this, right, and you have let's say, a sales background, I'm sure you're aware the more you can actually nurture the lead, the higher chance of them closing without you being good at sales, no matter what industry you're in. Okay? So every touch point is a brick. That's the way I like to view it. Is like if you're building a wall, let's say, right, you need a variety of bricks to actually hold that wall, because otherwise it's gonna fall down, right? It's simple as that. That's the way I like to view it as well. Every helpful video is another brick. Every patient story or testimonial of any sort, another brick. Every FAQ of any sort, the more custom, the better, of course, for the actual patient or the prospect. That's another brick. Testimonial, etc., another brick. And Speaking about educational emails, that's in itself is also multiple layers within a brick. Treatment videos. No one in the industry, for the most part, is doing this besides, of course, the big dogs. Show how it works before they ask. So again, this takes a lot of work, but if you can do these type of videos to educate your prospects during the consultation or before the consultation, that's a no-brainer if you ask me. FAQs. Now, of course, answer objections before they form. This could be very custom as well to like the actual treatment plans, the clinic. You can never have too many of these. Patient stories. Now, this is pretty self-explanatory, right? Testimonials. But one thing that I've discovered personally within the big dogs in the industry, of course, across the nation, is having very custom testimonials based off of the treatment that the potential patient or the prospect has opted in from. So whatever, let's say you're offering Morpheus 8 or you're advertising Thermage, right? Having social proof and trust based off of your previous patients and procedures done within your clinic on these treatments, right? So like whether it's a video, whether it's a Google review, whatever, just having it visible within the funnel, within your sales funnel before they even come into the consultation, and pretty much reminding them that like you are an expert here and you have happy clients that have already done this before in the past here recently. If it's the more recent the better, of course. But and another thing as well I like to mention as well is every patient is different, of course. So like the more, when it comes to psychology, the more you can resonate with them, the better. So an example would be gender. Is she a male, female? Have a variety of that. A diversity of skin tone. Is it, IPL, of course, affects other people on other skin tones, etc. So like having a variety of different patients and providing their stories for different point of views, anything along those lines. Ages, an 18-year-old patient that you've treated in the past compared to a 58-year-old grandma or a 58-year-old person. Again, you want to have all of this within a good portfolio custom to the potential prospect. And then there is strategy to do this properly, but again, the big dogs are for the most part doing this. And then emails, educational emails in general. This is pretty much a combination of all of this for the most part, but nurturing your patients with confidence between every single touch point. Again, if you ask me, it's a necessity. So, that being said, uncertainty is what prevents premium decisions. That's pretty much why we're doing all of this right here. It's because if they're uncertain, that's why they're not going to buy. That's even if you offer charity or care credit, they're probably not going to take on that financing because they're not sure. People don't suddenly become willing to spend $2,000, 3,000, 5,000 plus dollars overnight. What changes is their certainty. The more certainty people have, the more comfortable they're willing to invest in you as the company and in themselves, the confidence that they're actually looking for, the outcome they truly want, right? So pretty self-explanatory. Stage one is awareness. They need to know of your business in your clinic. They need to know of the problem that they low-key want and have. Stage two is education. They need to become informed with what it is that they're potentially signing up for. And stage three is their confidence. They need to know and have conviction in you and in themselves. Every unanswered question means they're uncertain. Every unanswered concern of any sort means they're uncertain. And every and the horrible part about this is that you'll never know what their concern will be when it comes to every unanswered concern. You'll never know, which is why having multiple bricks layered in, it increases the chances of their concern going away. And on top of that, their fear. Every every unanswered fear, of course, means they're uncertain. And all of this is just a smokescreen because they're not going to say I'm concerned or I'm scared or I have more questions. Can I ask you in 5 minutes, please? Like they're just going to throw objections left, right, and center, which is a smokescreen because they're uncertain. So of course, these aren't objections; they're unanswered questions. Every hesitation your patient voices is simply a gap in the education that they never received before arriving. Going back to that Ferrari, if I don't know anything about Ferrari and someone's pitching me $250,000 and all I see that is a very attractive car, I'm not going to buy. It's as simple as that. I know it's attractive. I know it can probably make me feel better, but I don't know anything about the product, the service, etc. I'm probably not going to buy. Will this work for me? So, for example, will this work for me? Before and after pictures and just sincere content is a good way to handle that before it even comes about. Procedural walkthrough videos, again, it's going above and beyond. So, for example, if you're an owner and you're watching this video still, for the most part, the industry is very saturated. If you're living in Texas, Florida, California, Arizona, you're probably seeing the saturation when it comes to your competition. There's a lot of competition out there. The majority of you guys are not doing these type of videos. So that's one way to definitely handle objections like, will this hurt? Or Are you the right clinic for me, etc.? Because no one says, are you the right clinic for me? They think that in their head. But if you can answer those by providing detailed walkthrough videos, you'll stand out. How many sessions do I need? Again, having a treatment plan explainer page of any sort, FAQs, etc. And why is your treatment more expensive? Going back to the Ferrari thing once again, like if the dealership across the street is selling the same car for $220,000 and you're selling it for $250,000 on the spot, why should I choose you over them? Right. And again, this was definitely a harder one to do. Like if you're a good salesperson, you'll definitely rebuttal this easily. But again, having a whole bunch of content in terms of like differentiation and technology, history about the devices, your staff, etc., easy way to stand out in that regard. So pretty much what I've discovered is the biggest opportunity isn't more leads. The big dogs in the industry right now are pretty much not, for the most part, they're not getting many more leads than you probably are. It depends per market, of course, but their strategy when it comes to actually getting more patients through the door isn't just volume. Of course, they want to generate more leads, but they're doing a far better job preparing patients before the consultation ever even begins, before they arrive, before they pick up the phone, make the call, schedule the appointment, pick up the keys, and drive to your clinic. So rather than asking yourself, how many leads did we get last week, or how do we generate more leads in general? The better question you should be asking yourself, and this is what these pretty much are the questions that the majority of the big dogs right now are currently asking themselves based off of my research, is how do we make every patient who finds us feel 10 times more informed, 10 times more ready and confident in themselves and in you as a clinic before they even arrive? Of course, the goal isn't to make sure they walk in with their credit card saying, please, take my money and let's do this procedure right away. Of course, that'd be awesome. But for the most part, we want to educate them as much as possible and ensure that they're coming in with conviction within themselves and within you in the clinic. Again, it's hard out there. There's a whole bunch of med spas opening up every single week, every single month, every single year, thousands every single year, hundreds every single month across the US. So, and we're not seeing any signs of stopping. So, that being said, if you want to keep up with the rest of the big dogs, for example, you want to stand out. And that's the thing that they're avoiding for the most part, is this mistake, right? This mistake of thinking they have a sales problem when in reality they have a pre-consultation problem. That being said, if you're still watching this video, congrats, of course. My name is Marvin once again. I do plan on making more videos like this, pretty much educating or just keeping up with the entire industry as a whole, the aesthetic clinic industry. If you're a clinic owner who enjoys breaking down these type of videos, or let's say psychology, for example, of patient acquisition, consultations, retention, and long-term clinic growth, you could consider subscribing if you want to. Leave a comment if you have any questions. I'd probably reach out as soon as possible. That's exactly what I'll be covering here no matter what. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.